back into training camp after coming off a preseason tie with the Cleveland Browns. Day 13, man, it's a little bit, to find out, but mostly we're looking at the aftermath of the bloodbath, what turned out to be a bloodbath here in Philly. Or was it Cleveland? What's up, it's your boy Centron, coming back at you with another analysis video that kid you not, that's my real name. We'll get into a little bit of news as well at the tail end of the video, but first, as we always do, let's start off with the Jalen Hurts watch. Day 13, and we're not going to go over every finite detail. Just going to look at the sum of the parts here. There were four sets. He was 13 and 19, the TD, the interception, and a sack. The sack being by Josh Sweat, him getting in there and touching Hurts. He's hopefully going to elevate this season from Pro Bowl level player to All Pro. What we'll see. That interception was Darius Slade. We'll get into that in a second. Wasn't a bad throw, but just the opportunity made by tight coverage. And the TD, one of the best throws of the day to Dallas Goedert. So QB1 getting in some solid work, and it was a solid day. The pick wasn't his fault. The touchdown definitely was because of him. You can blame him for it. And the sack, just comes to the territory, but he had some nice situations. They focused on clock management, situational football, and he really, could throw us for a loop. He ran 3 times in a row when the clock was ticking down, and actually did get the first down. So it's something that offenses have to worry about. Think about the Colts game where he ran in for the score, and talked about this ad nauseum a couple times, more than a couple. Everybody, you spread him out wide, and then, the O-line opened up the middle of the field, and he just went straight up the gut for the 6-point adventure. So it's a very nice weapon to have. Defenses, liable to panic in 2-minute drill, because this guy, not only he's ready, to fire off, but he, can escape, get out there, and cause confusion, cause consternation, cause pause, and that's death out there for a defense on the football field. But anyways, let's get to the game balls for today. And, you can give this to, for the offense, it's kind of like I can say hollow, like almost a participation trophy, but you have to give it to someone. And Dallas Goedert, he stood out today, so let's get into it. Yeah, you could definitely start for 30 other teams. If he's not Travis Kelce, or I would say George Kittle, other teams would take him. Maybe not in a heartbeat, but man, he's a very good dude. 6-year pro, going into a 6th year, and yeah, he's one of the best pass catchers out there. And he's also developed into a good run blocker, excellent route runner, which you don't often say for a tight end, and he can be physical. Like, I remember the preseason last year, him diving into the end zone, taking contact, landing on his back hard, but he was able to get it done. Yeah, he can do it all, and we're better for the wear having him in our offense. And his 2.46 mark, yeah, he's behind 2 other tight ends, but they are also pretty damn good route runners and very explosive. But he's ahead of Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase had a down year. He only played in, I think, 10 games. Still went over 1,000 yards, but comparing him to a receiver, that's where we're at, because he's just that good and just that efficient. But yeah, man, he could maybe beat George Kittle out for the top tight end spot in the NFC. Travis Kelce's going to hold on to that for, maybe a little while longer, maybe 2 seasons longer, but he has to start declining at some point, right? And Dallas Goedert, he's not a young man either. He's 28, I think, going into this season. But yeah, he's definitely a well-oiled machine, or a piece in our well-oiled machine. Pause. All right, defensive game ball was well-deserved. Let's get into it. James Bradbury. Saturday was a bit of a quiet practice for A.J. Brown, who's been the Eagles' best overall player in camp this year. That says less about Hurts and Brown himself and more about the dude who was frequently lining up across from Brown, that being James Bradbury. With his sticky coverage, he made it a difficult morning for the Birds' star wideout. Bradbury also had an interception on the day, and he's reading Marcus Mariota and stepped directly in front of it for an easy pick. But it's a discount pick, definitely, because Mariota, hasn't looked the best in training camp. He's been up and down, but more down than up. So Bradbury's had at least 3 picks in each of the last 4 seasons. And I bet that will continue as well because he's just a sharp corner. He stays on his P's and Q's. He knows he can clue in, especially if he has like a read. He's able to play from zone and read the quarterback's eyes. And I'm excited to see what he does in this defense with Sean Desai. And this is a new wrinkle. Interesting. I think he maybe did a bit of it, like very minute amount last season, but playing inside at slot cornerback, so covering bigger guys. To switch up, yeah, but a wise decision definitely coming from Sean Desai. And facing an opponent with a quality tight end, the Eagles should be putting their most physical corner on that tight end to prevent mismatch nightmares for the Eagles' weak linebacker core and inexperienced safety group. So, I mean, on this team, there's got to be a weak link, and it's definitely the linebackers. And then I'll put that behind that group, the safety group. But it's not to say that they're bad, but we just have a superior, strong O-line, D-line, receiving core, running back stable. He just is what it is. Defensive backs. I mean, yeah. So, what does that leave you? Only linebackers and safeties. I mean, like the corners are pretty good, but yeah, we don't need superstars at the same time. But do you really trust a 5'11", 231 Nakobe Dean and an experienced Christian Ellis or Zach Cunningham to cover a tight end in space? No, I mean you don't want them on that matchup, but. My concern is who do you put outside if you have him going inside? Do you put Avonte Maddox out there and just have him flip-flop? Or do you bring a safety onto the field and maybe try them on the outside, like a Justin Evans or Sidney Brown? I mean, him being a rookie and all, I wouldn't want to, but there are some options there to be had. Or like Josh Jobe, he seems to have stepped it up, and I would say he's definitely our third or fourth best corner. It depends on how you see him in the pecking order and where you see Avonte Maddox. I've seen more of an inside guy as of right now. I know he can't play outside, but Josh Jobe might actually be the better option. Him having given Brown a challenge this offseason, whereas last offseason I'm sure he would have got dusted thoroughly. And yeah, he did get caught on a fair amount, but that is A.J. Brown out there. But you could see in the Browns preseason game, he was being thoroughly avoided, and whether that was just comfortability with the receivers that were smoking Zach McPherson on the outside, on that Zach McPherson pack, or it was, they were afraid of him, or a mix of both, but they did stay away from him. So there is that, and he provides a good amount of size and comfortability, hopefully out there on the edge. And I think he is the guy that comes in for Bradbury. For James Bradbury, golly, I'm thinking of Darius Slay and James Bradbury, mixing them those two into one. Sorry, but I think it'll be interesting to see what we do because, like I said, there are some options, and including formations like the dime. What are we gonna do? Who we're gonna throw out there? Terrell Edmonds, maybe pseudo linebacker, and then I mean there's some funky formations and shifts and things like that you can get into, but. I would like I said, I would think it would be Josh Jobe, and we'll get into that a little bit later here. There are some of the tight ends that the Birds will face this season. Travis Kelce of the Chiefs, George Kittle of the 49ers, T.J. Hockenson of the Vikings, Darren Waller of the Giants, and Dalton Kincaid of the Dallas Cowboys. And Dalton Kincaid, I want to say that maybe, we could leave that to the rookies, but you never know. Darren Waller, he's definitely a good route runner, so I would maybe put James Bradbury on him. And yeah, I would definitely put him on him because they have 2s and 3s at wide receiver, so I like our other guys' chances at defending them. T.J. Hockenson, definitely, we could put maybe Josh Jobe or someone else on the rookie, but I definitely want Darius Slay his undivided attention on Jay Jetter, Justin Jefferson. But I think that will give us a good matchup. If Hawkinson gives us trouble, Kittle. This is where I come into. I think this is the biggest conundrum for me because where do you put your focus on? Do you stop him? I mean, or you stop him once he becomes a threat, he gets rolling, but he's such a threat once he does get momentum going. So you don't want to let that locomotive out of the station. And there's a big physical guy by the name of what is his name? The wide receiver there in 49ers. He whines. Debo Samuels. He might be too physical for Darius Slay. So I'd love Bradbury to be on him. I don't know how it was in the playoffs. I think that might have been the case. And then, Slade definitely ain't messing with Kittle. He's fast, but he's not gonna be able to out physical him in the least. So maybe you shift in between those, and then maybe you can trust Josh Jobe with a physical guy like Debo. He might do your guy in, but he might be able to hold up as well. So I mean, there's so many things that we can do in that situation, but what will the number 1, 2, and 3 options be? So don't know. But Kelsey is more of a straight up. I would definitely try James Bradbury and then trust our guys to with their relatively inexperienced core, but they have MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So I would maybe trust Slade to him. Yeah, I think that would be a good matchup, and then worry about the other guys if they become threats. But that would be an interesting challenge for us. Premier corner, throw them out there. Simple solution. Like I said, in most cases, except for the 49ers, they present the most interesting conundrum. But it should have been done in the Super Bowl when Kelsey had 6 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. And it just goes to show you that, Jonathan Gannon, piss poor coordinator, because he was a one-trick pony. When you're good at doing one thing, great. But what happens when you have to adjust, or you're challenged, or you're presented with a puzzle? You can't just crumble, and that's exactly what he did. Those tight ends are household names for a reason, but anything that can slow them down is a plus, especially in contrast to someone like Kobe Dean or Sidney Brown attempting to hold their own. So inexperience and even more inexperience. And once he learns how to use his frame, his body to compensate for what he doesn't have, cool. But he's just in his second year, and he's a starter, and he's a green dot guy. So a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and just let him focus on one thing this year at least. All right, let's get into the meat of this thing, and let's go back to the top. All right, starting cornerbacks make plays. That's good news, because we've heard that they're good at covering, but they haven't been out there making plays. And that's one of the gripes, one of the whole hang-ups with people from Darius Slay and James Bradbury, an indictment on them of sorts. All right, a shortened practice. They did hit the pads though, had the pads on, even after injury-filled game coming out of the match with the Cleveland Browns. The player of the day was Darius Slay, who deflected a Jalen Hurts pass intended for Devonta Smith. The ball then hit Smith's hand, shot up in the air, so he deflected it, hit his hands anyway. He maybe was distracted by that, and Slay was able to chase it down, make the catch, and toe tap along the sideline for the INT. So, man, putting in a lot of work. They're showing that he's still got the ball skills. His demise has been greatly exaggerated, and he's going to go out there, maybe have an all-pro season this year. He's chomping at the bit to go out there and prove the haters wrong and prove the doubters wrong. And, I'm counting on him. I would suspect that he would have a very good year out there. So, no worries, man. James Bradbury also had an INT off of Marcus Mariota. Like I said, a little bit of a discount there. Who continues to struggle. Mariota did at least connect with Devin Allen on a deep ball down his field on what looked like a busted coverage. That's really the first notable thing Allen has done all of camp, by the way. So he flashed more in the Cleveland Browns game, because I think that's the first game he actually. He played. We only played one previously to that. So, but he was on the NFI list. So, of course, I don't think he's making the team this year. I don't even know if he's making a practice squad, because I would rather have Cleveland. Even though he might be hurt, but Johnny King and the guy that I would say are my guys that I would put on the list way before Devin Allen. Kobe Dean built on his positive showing during the second preseason game, where he forced a fumble in the red zone near the goal line. as he stood out today. On a play in which the Eagles defense was in man coverage, he found himself in coverage out wide against Kenny Gainwell. So he wasn't just covering him coming out the backfield. He was split out, and Kenny ran a go route. And he has some good receiving chops. The quarterback looked Gainwell's way, but didn't pull the trigger because Dean was running stride for stride with him, so showing off that 4.6 speed, I believe. Dean also had a pass breakup on a bubble screen, so active, just good sign for him that he's building on that performance. Maybe just gaining some confidence, much needed confidence that was eluding him previously in training camp. Josh Sweat had an active day. He had a sack, and he also broke up a pass over the middle intended for Grant Capitera. Sweat has been dropping into coverage on occasion, and he doesn't look overwhelmed, so nice. Guy runs a 4.53. He's athletic. He had that pick six off of that tip ball at the line of scrimmage, I believe, and with Dak Prescott in our second meeting against Dallas. And man, he was able to stiff arm. I think maybe it might have been Dak or whoever was chasing him and outrun them to the end zone. Man, just excellent awareness. So just throwing curveballs at offenses and maybe dropping him a couple times. Of course, not a lot, but just. You don't want offenses to get a beat on you and just being able to thoroughly confuse them, especially young quarterbacks on the schedule we have this year. We're going to face, not Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell twice. He was a rookie last year. He's a first-year starter this year. So anytime you can try and scramble the young guys' brains, hey, man, do it. Zach Cunningham got a bunch of first-team reps. I think that the competition for the starting linebacker job opposite Dean is down to Cunningham and Christian Ellis. So, yeah, I like that, man. Christian Ellis really rose to the ranks this year. And, Nicholas Morrow, I don't think he's in the picture. Miles Jack just hasn't done enough, but I would love him as quality depth coming off the bench unless he complains and wants to get released and makes it a whole fiasco. But, this is a team with Super Bowl aspirations. I think he'd want to be here. But yeah, I like that competition thus far, and then we can always upgrade if we want in season. Maybe try and trade for Patrick Queen. He's an expendable piece sitting on the Baltimore Ravens roster right now, and we have up until week 6 until the trade deadline to get active. All right, Nolan Smith didn't practice, but that didn't stop him from taking mental reps. So, you like to see that. You never see the guy taking mental reps, but he's just, like you said, they said here, he's serious about football, and he's a guy who eats, sleeps, breathes, lives, and that. So, kudos to him. All right, Dallas Goedert has been uncomfortable. Tell me new news because we already know that. The Eagles announced a bunch of cuts. So we cut punter Ty Zettner, cornerback Greedy Williams, and cornerback Zach McPherson. So injury waiver for Tyree Cleveland and injury waiver for Noah Ellis. So Noah Ellis, I didn't have him making a roster, maybe on the practice squad, but it would be great if we can stash him until next year. Maybe show something because he's a huge guy. Maybe he can be our Jordan Davis backup replacement. Tyree Cleveland was coming on. He was heating up in training camp. Had been playing pretty good throughout the first 2 preseason games, but came up with that neck injury, got concussed. So we'll see if these 3 guys clear waivers, they'll be in the injured reserve. I don't know if it's a long-term version or if that's the 4 to 6 week version that we can recall people off of. Maybe recall him, cut him, and then put him on the practice squad. But these 2, he's done for the year. I don't know if he's done for the year because I didn't even remember him being injury reported. But Greedy Williams just didn't play very well and just never caught on in camp. So getting him out of here. And we're pretty deep at corner this year. So we have 2 highly proclaimed undrafted guys in Mekhi Gardner and Eli Ricks. So we'll see how it shapes out and who's going to be in the practice squad. So both of them are, at the very least, one of them is going to make the practice squad, but I think they both might make it. And Ty Zettner, just, he's a fantastic rookie specimen, but just didn't cut it and averaged under 40 yards a punt in the game. So just had to get him up out of here, man. But we did sign these guys, and I'll get into them in a second. But these are guys that missed practice because they were dealing with some issue or another. Britton Covey, don't know if he makes the roster now because Olamide Zaccheaus did look like he could, take his place and be our 4th receiver at the same time. Maybe make a way for a Nada at 6 as a 5th or 6th receiver, Fletcher Cox, just old man wrist. Mekhi Gardner, that's news to me, ankle, but maybe got on special teams well, I think he did. I don't know if he did. He played in the game. I don't remember seeing any information about his rating during the game. Kyron Johnson appendectomy. Hope he gets that taken care of. Moro Jomo was taken out on a stretcher in the game, got concussed. So he was a 7th round pick for us. So yeah, we're in it for the long haul. But he might make the initial 53. Hassan Reddick, our star pass rusher, should be good to go by week 1. He's guaranteed to be good for week 1, at the very least in a club if he has to. Scrap that club joke. Anyways, you're not watching. All right, Trey Sermon ankle, but he's not gonna make this roster. He's gonna get cut. He's been fumbling both games. Nolan Smith, he's our one of the apples over our eye in the first round. Healed up. He said he put some icy hot on it, but don't do anything risky. Greg Ward, most likely going to be on the practice squad. One of the elders we can call up. We know he can be dependable, and I think this offense he maybe could excel at a regular pace. Quez Watkins got to get healthy, son. So all right, let's look at a couple of guys that we did sign. So we signed D tackle Robert Cooper. D tackle Marvin Wilson, we're familiar with. D tackle Caleb Sanders, linebacker Tyreek Maddox, and linebacker Quentin Bell. Let's get into a couple of guys. This guy out of Florida State, undrafted free agent this year. Thickly built, stout interior guy. Doesn't have great functional strength. He has great functional strength, so good against the run, so maybe he can take this year to get stronger and be maybe part of the rotation next year. All right, Marvin Wilson out of Florida State. So both these guys out of Florida State, I'm a alum, so shout out to my university. But he was with us in 2021 and 2022, so the past couple seasons. Plays on special teams, like lighter guy, but he's at least familiar with the scheme. So he's going to be guys that play in the preseason, and most likely we're going to cut them. But I would love for us to develop Robert Cooper. Caleb Sanders, lighter guy. He's 6 foot, 287, 1.72 split in a 10-yard increment measuring. So I mean, he's a quick guy. Was with Giants, but didn't make it out. South Dakota State. So we love those guys in those two states, North Dakota and South Dakota. But he was good with sacks, 6.5. So he's maybe a quick guy, more in the Aaron Donald mold, but definitely not as good. And 6 foot 228, light linebacker, just gonna be there for not practice spot, but just this next upcoming game, our last game. This guy actually has good size, he's 6'4", 258, but again, bounced around the league so far, Falcons roster, and then he's just going to be a guy we keep for the game, basically. But that's all for today. A little bit of a mid-sized video today. But anyways, you're not even watching though. But it's all good because I love making Eagles content. Love talking about the Eagles, point blank, period. But as I always say, as we get up out of here, it's fly, Eagles, fly. And let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Centron Anime, Centron Life, or Centron Laughs, or other social media.